Okay, we're back. So I apologize. Something happened with the Facebook connection, of course. So we're going to give this a few minutes and we'll start our live stream. There we go. Okay. Sorry, everybody. So Facebook did an error message and it said your live stream has ended. Error something code, and it completely shut off. So I apologize to you guys. That was on Facebook, technical difficulties, so that kind of sucks. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to get back into the chat, find us again, and then we'll start our questions again. I apologize, you guys. Was not our fault. It was Facebook's fault. It did some kind of error message. So uh, who knows? Facebook sucks, right? So we'll give this a few minutes, and I'll come back. I will cover a few things while we're waiting for everybody to get back in the chat. Um, some of our questions tonight are military-based questions. We had a lot of people that are falling for military scams this time of year. Because of being Christmas, a lot of scammers will say they're deployed in the military, and of course they have a child, and they're missing home, and they need money and gift cards and things like that. So bear with me a few minutes, and we'll get back to our questions. I apologize to everyone that's coming back in the chat. Facebook totally glitched out and decided to be pretty nasty. I had to restart the camera and restart my Facebook login. So we'll give it a couple minutes and I'll get back to some of the questions. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way things happen this way. 2020 has been a year, hasn't it? I actually, while I'm waiting for people to get back in the chat, I'll tell you a quick story. I had a really rough week myself. I ended up having to go yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, for a COVID test because somebody that I was helping, I do some work on the side, and someone I was helping in an office tested positive for COVID, and I was in close quarters with them. I mean, of course, we had our masks on, but it still put me at risk. So I had to wait for a certain period of time, and then I went for a COVID test yesterday, which came back negative, but I'm still kind of isolating for a few more days just to make sure to keep people safe in case I do have it. But I will tell you, if you haven't had a COVID test, it's not pleasant. Made my eyes water. So, but that's been my week. So the chat failing was just icing on the cake. So most of you are back. I'll start. I'll answer question 2, and we'll pick up where we left off. Again, those of you just joining us, I apologize. Facebook had a camera error. Everything went blank. Everything shut off. We're back for now. If we lose it again, we might just have to go over to YouTube instead because Facebook is not working the way it should. And it keeps freezing. I'm having technical issues, so I apologize. If we get kicked off again, I'm going to pop over to YouTube, and you can join me on YouTube if you'd like. So the second question that somebody asked tonight, and a lot of them are military-based questions. I'm in an online relationship with an Army guy, and as I have learned from you, I asked him for his Army military email address. He gave it to me, and it is the right format that you've shown. So he is real, right? So again, as I said, oh, you've had to, yeah, they're not fun. So as I've said, a lot of scammers will pretend to be military men, and they will actually give you a military email address. So let's say their name is Joe Smith, and they'll give you Joe Smith at usarmy.mil or usarmy.gov or whatever it is, a legit military address. We've had victims bring us these addresses, and we say, well, yes, that's the correct format, but have you emailed him from there? Has he emailed you from that address? And most times the victims say, no, he hasn't. So what scammers will do is they'll give you a legit looking military email address and say, well, you can reach me here, but let's talk on Hangouts. There's my email address, but you can reach me on Hangouts. And so they'll just give you a military email address. It's not theirs. It's probably not even legit. A lot of them will bounce back if you try to email them. Tell the scammer you would like him to send you an email from his official government military email address. He won't do it because he's not real. He's just using a military email format. So what I would suggest to you is you tell the scammer that you would, or the person you're talking to, that you would like him or her to email you using the military email address that he just gave you, and then you would like for him to video chat with you and write your name on paper and hold it up while you're on video. A scammer will not do it. A scammer will come up with any excuse in the book. So just because you get a military email address from a person doesn't mean they're legit. And it all comes down to what their story is, what they're asking of you, what they want. It's not always, cut in stone where if the email address is real, oh, he's okay. what are they asking of you? That's what you need to look at. And so I would ask him to email you from that address and make sure it's spelled correctly. Make sure it's a government email. And he won't do it at all. Gene, if someone has a name on Facebook but it only shows a hangout, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. You mean if they're on Facebook but they will only talk on Hangouts, or it comes down to really, Hangouts is a hub for scammers. And normal people do use Hangouts, but if you've just met somebody on Facebook and they're saying, let's not talk on here, let's talk on Hangouts, there's something very wrong. Because legit people will talk to you on Facebook. They will message you through Facebook. Scammers generally want you to go to Hangouts because it's hard to get kicked off of Hangouts, and if it's a new Facebook profile, it'll very likely be removed for being fake. So they want to capture you and get you on Hangouts before they lose their fake Facebook profile or their fake Instagram or dating website. So if that's what you meant, that's kind of the answer I would have. Thanks for everyone for joining the chat. A full email address. I mean, it would depend. If you have something you want me to look at, I'm happy to take a look. It all depends. And keep in mind, I mean, a lot of people do use Gmail, but scammers use Gmail too quite often. It's kind of the hub for that too. I'd have to look at what you're talking about to kind of give you a clear answer on that, but if you want to drop something to our inbox, I'm happy to take a look at it. Hi, Dolores. Hi, everybody that's coming in. Hi, Billy. Hi, everybody. Debbie, back again. I was wondering how those COVID tests were to have when they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. Those of you just joining us, I had a COVID test yesterday. Happily, it tested negative, but it was actually through a drive-through COVID testing site. My doctor sent me to get one, and it's a super long. They do it like both of your nostrils, and it's a super long Q-tip, and they just tell you to like just brace yourself, and it makes your eyes water. It's awful, but if it keeps people safe, it keeps you safe. You know that you're okay, and you do what you got to do. But yeah, if you've never had a COVID test, it's not pleasant. It's really not pleasant. But it's quick. Like it's 30 seconds, but it's 30 seconds of pure eye-watering hell. Barb, I was trying to purchase something on Craigslist, and the person texted me a Google ID and wanted me to send it back to him to prove I was real. Thank goodness I realized it would give him access to my Gmail account. I told him I wasn't stupid and wouldn't do it because it's the only reason. Yeah, they try to get access to your Gmail account. They do. They'll try to send you a code. They'll try to do all kinds of things to your phone. Oh, let me send a code to your phone. What's your Gmail ID? What's your password? They try really hard because they want to gain these Gmail accounts because it's harder and harder for them to maintain them. A lot of times Google now will ask for your legit US or whatever phone number, and they use all free voicemail numbers to scam with. So they're having a harder time getting Gmail accounts and getting Hangouts, which is good. But yeah. Hi, everyone's joining the chat. Okay, we have a couple more questions. Someone wrote in. Next one we have. Why am I not seeing your post in my newsfeed? It's a great question. So Facebook restricts anti-scam pages. They don't like them. They don't approve of them. They don't want them on their site. I mean, they'll let scammers on their site, of course. They'll let scammers run networks of stolen credit cards and everything. But as far as our page, they restrict us. They restrict a lot of anti-scammer pages. If you don't see us in your news feed, know that we're always here. You just have to maybe come to the page to see what we post. But Anna and myself do about 30 to 40 posts a day, easily. So we are here every day. We're always answering our inbox. So if you don't see us in your news feed, come and see us in person by typing in our page name. Next question we have. I made the mistake of sending photos, not naughty ones, to what I now know as a scammer. Photos of my children, my house, my car, etc. I know I can't get them back, but I'm worried about what will happen. Your thoughts? So, a couple things. Scammers tend to ask for a lot of photos when they're talking to someone. Depends on the scammer. A really good scammer who's not wanting to mess around with someone who might be a scam baiter will sit there and say, send me 5 photos of yourself, send me photos of your kids, send me your car, send me your house photos. And they do this for one of a few reasons. They want to make sure you're real. They want to make sure that they have a bunch of photos of you, that you're not messing with them, you're not a scam baiter, you're not a fake. As far as what they would do with the photos of your kids, they might take those and use them in a fake profile and say that they're their own kids and make up names for these kids. Photos of your house and car. If they're nice looking, scammers will use them and say, "This is my house, dear. This is my car." So they do steal people's photos for that reason. As far as your photo, it depends. Sometimes they use them. Sometimes they look at them, they Google them, and then they dump them. I wouldn't be too worried, but unfortunately, the photos of your kids, they might use them in a scam, and that's why it's very, very important to not send your whole life to somebody. Well, we want to get to know people online. Don't send people photos of your kids. If you've never met them in person, you can tell them you have a child. Hey, I have a 5-year-old. Her name is Sally. Fine. Don't send photos of Sally. Don't send photos of her at school. Don't send photos of her birthday party, because scammers use those. And on top of that, even if it wasn't a scammer, if it's someone you've never met in person, don't send photos of your kids, because you don't know who that person really is. They might be might be a scammer, but they might be a pervert. So it's always good to protect your kids and not send photos. And sending photos of your house can be scary as well, because if they're able to Google Earth your photos, or they know your address or city, I mean, they can find you, and it's better just to keep things a little private until you meet that person in person. Joy, how do those scammers find me on Facebook and Instagram? It depends. If you've had one encounter with a fake profile at any time during your whole history of being on the internet, scammers will keep your profile link and they'll share it to other scammers in scammer groups. In other words, groups run by scammers. And they'll say, hey, check out Joy. She likes blah, blah, blah. Try to hit her up with a fake profile. And so your information gets passed around to scammers, and pretty soon you'll find yourself with 100 friend requests. Even if you don't encounter a scammer, sometimes scammers just go down the line and look at women's names in search and just pick which one they want to harass, and then they'll share your information. That's usually how it happens. Or also, if you comment on news story pages, like if you're on CNN News or Fox News or Good Morning America or any public page on Facebook or Instagram, scammers read your comments and they find you that way as well. So it's unfortunate, and it's just the way it is. I mean, that's just kind of how they work. But, Debbie asked, is there a way to get admins on Facebook groups to be more vigilant as to keep scammers away? I keep leaving Facebook groups because they get spoofers and I report them, but the admins aren't removing them. It's frustrating. So Anna and myself will tell you, a really good page admin will monitor their page. They will boot people. They will vet people before they let them come into the groups. Our page is a public page. It's not a group. So even though we're public and the information is out there for anybody, we check every comment. We check every person that likes our page. We probably ban 3,000 to 4,000 people a year from our page. The best way to talk to the admin is just tell them, hey, you're running a page or a group that is you're allowing scammers in the group, and people are going to get scammed and hurt, and you could get into a lot of trouble doing this. You're creating an unsafe environment. And if they don't know about romance scams, share our page, share another anti-scam page with them and say, look, these are scammers, this is what they do, and you need to be careful with who you let into your group. Sometimes admins don't care. Sometimes you'll see a group that has 20,000 people as members, and 6,000 of them are scammers. They're fake profiles. So you have to be really careful and talk to the admin respectfully, and any good admin is going to listen and say, I need to take control of my page. But a bad admin isn't going to care. It's just they don't care, and that's the sad part about it. But yeah, I mean, it also comes down to making your profile private. We have a note that teaches you how to lock down your profile. Keep your photos private. Make sure your photos are not public. Make sure your albums are not public. Make sure your about section is not public, because some scammers will just go looking for single lady from the Philippines who's 45, and they'll go down and look for that specific type of person. So keep everything private. Don't let them see your kids' birthday photos public. Don't let them see the fact that you're divorced be public, because scammers look for victims with specific criteria. Divorced lady who's 50 years old, whose kids are grown, who's lonely. They look for these things, and so if you don't advertise yourself out there, then you'll kind of lessen your chances as well. And some people don't realize that their profiles are public. We've had victims that have said, "Oh, I don't understand how scammers are finding me." And we say, "Well, your photos are wide open." And they say, "What do you mean?" I said, "I can see your kid's birthday party. I can see your kid's graduation. I can see everything." And they didn't realize that their photos were public. And do you believe scammers are listening to you? No. We have scammers that come to the page. I banned a scammer earlier today. I've got asked this on YouTube as well. Some scammers probably do, but in the almost 7 years Anna and myself have been doing this and educating people, the scammers have never changed their format. They always say widow, one child, oil rig, engineer, blah blah blah, doctor, military boy. They never change their subjects. So if scammers were really paying attention to anti-scam pages and listening to what we tell you guys, they would change their format, but they don't. They keep doing the same crap over and over. And really, we would rather educate 100 people to not become victims and then worry about educating one scammer who might be listening. But they probably do at some point, but they're not learning, and that's a good thing. They just keep doing the same garbage over and over. I'm getting scammers on LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn is a hub for scammers now, and people are shocked. They're like, why are scammers on LinkedIn? Anyone can create a profile on LinkedIn. It's not hard. Nothing is verified. You could say you're the king of England on LinkedIn, and it'll put it up there. So they're hitting professionals on LinkedIn, and the dangerous thing about that is people that are on LinkedIn, a lot of people tend to be business professionals. They tend to be successful working people that have jobs as like managers and CEOs and accountants and money heavy jobs. So they're targeting more of the professional people, and that's why they're on LinkedIn. And unfortunately, people are falling victim to LinkedIn. They definitely are. I've had confessed scammers tell me they follow a script. Most do. Most follow the same script. It depends. And we tell people, a scammer is like any other criminal. There's good ones, there's bad ones. It's like car thieves. There's really good car thieves and there's really crappy ones. So it depends. Some scammers follow a script. They say the same things over and over so that when we have chats with them, we can basically tell them that, we lit our hair on fire, and the scammer will write, "That's nice, dear. I like swimming and biking and hanging with friends." They write the same garbage. But there are scammers that, work alone, that are educated, that don't follow a script, that they actually pay attention to what you're saying, and they reply to you, and they listen to you, and that's the most dangerous kind you can find. But yeah, a lot of them do follow the same thing. I've always said that a scammer would make an excellent salesman because they're very pushy and they follow the script. And that's what they do. If they weren't scammers, they'd be really good salesmen. Next question we have. I've been chatting to a man for 4 months, and now he's planning to come and see me, but he says he can't cam chat. I have lots of photos, and he has asked me for nothing. Something just feels off, and I'm second guessing myself whether to give him my address. Should I? No. So it comes down to this. If you're talking to somebody online who professes to want to be with you, wants to visit you, wants to be around your kids, wants to marry you, but they can't show their face on camera, there's something wrong. And it comes down to you should always listen to your gut feeling. If something doesn't feel right, it probably is not right. We talk about cameras. I mean, and I've said this before, I'm sitting in front of you, I have a laptop to my right, I have a phone. My phone has a camera, my computer has a camera, my laptop has a camera. We have tablets and Chromebooks and phones and all these different devices. Every single one has a camera. If you don't have a phone with a camera, then you at least know somebody, whether it be your neighbor, your buddy, your friend, your colleague, whoever, to have a camera. So there's no reason why in this day and age that you cannot video chat. If it was 20 years ago, I would say, okay, maybe they don't have the new webcam. But there's cameras everywhere. Everyone can video chat. And so if someone's refusing to cam with you, it's going to be one of two things. They're either a scammer using stolen photos, or they're not who they say they are in another sense. And maybe, you think you're talking to a 40-year-old guy and you're really talking to a 21-year-old girl. You don't know. So never give your address out to somebody that you've never cammed with. And if you are going to meet somebody on the internet, let's say for the sake of argument they're legit, meet them in a public place, meet them at a Starbucks, meet them at a McDonald's, meet them at a restaurant. Don't invite a human being that you've never met in your entire life, let alone never cam chatted with, to your home. That's stupid. That would be like me telling you in the mid-'70s, to hitchhike across California and you'll be fine. You're not okay, so don't do it. Don't invite strangers to your house. Phyllis Williman, thank you for helping me with someone I inquired about. I said that I would get back to you, but fractured the hand I text with, so I'll get back to you. Okay. Sorry to hear about that. I hope your hand feels better. Take your time. We're always here. Anna and myself are always here, anytime. So if you need help, we're always around. But definitely feel better soon. That sucks. That really sucks. So next question we have is, I almost fell for a scam and I have multiple bank accounts that he gave me to transfer money. What should I do with this information? That's an excellent question. If you guys have been following our chat we had with George, Fake George, we had 5 videos with George. He actually wanted $150,000 sent to a bank account in Florida. And we actually Googled the bank account and it went to a legit multi-million-dollar construction company, and it was a legit company. We think that someone who works at the construction company might have been using their company's bank site to be a money mule. But what you should do is, if they give you the bank routing information, like it's Wells Fargo Bank, and you have the routing number and all that information, type in the name of the bank, and then when you get on the bank's real legit website, look for the fraud reporting button. There's always a fraud button or a contact us button, and it'll lead you to the fraud department of that bank. Write them a quick email, tell them what happened, give them the bank information, and turn it in. We always turn in bank accounts that are being used, every time. I don't care what bank it is. It could be a bank in Turkey, it could be a bank in Florida, could be anywhere. But make sure you Google the name of the bank and then look for the fraud reporting, send it in. And nothing may happen. You may not hear from them, you may not hear any, but at least you have given that information to the bank and they can carry on whether they want to pursue that or not. The situation with the George video, we turned in the bank account information and I actually got an email back from an investigator from Wells Fargo, a legit fraud investigator, who thanked us for turning it in. I gave him one of my business numbers and I said, if you have questions, please call me. He said he would be in touch, and they are investigating it. So it does help to do it. I mean, you might not hear anything back, but just know that 5 minutes of you turning in that bank information might save someone's life. Someone's account might be being used as a money mule. They don't realize they're the victim of a scam, and they're actually being used as money mules. So it's great to turn it in just to keep that person safe. And sometimes scammers open bank accounts online with victims' information, and the victim doesn't even know they have a bank account. They've just used a victim's info and opened an account. So yeah, always turn them in. Always turn in the information. It doesn't hurt. Susan, I have a question. Are there any safe groups out there on Facebook that aren't hit by scammers? Most are singles groups they hit on. There is no group in Facebook at all that I'm aware of that either doesn't, possibly have a scammer in it. There's scammers in every group. I mean, we think of romance scamming, we think of them being in like romance groups and love groups and singles groups, and they're infested in those groups. But there's a ton of scammers that are joining religious groups, that are joining TV fan page groups. I'm in a couple 90 Day Fiance fan page groups and a couple other TV show page groups. There's scammers in there. They've never watched the show in their life, but they're trying to hit on people and hit on ladies and try to get them to talk. But no, there is no group that I'm aware of that either doesn't have a fake profile in it or might have a scammer in it. Unless you run the group yourself or you actually have watched the owners or the admins vet everybody that comes in, there's no safe group. They're going to be everywhere. And here's a subject I want to touch on really quickly because this is happening a lot. So we're used to seeing fake profiles. We're used to being in groups. I'll give you an example. I helped someone last month who was in a depression and anxiety group. And she started talking to a gentleman. And she came to us needing help. And I said, well, does he have a profile? And she said, yes. I said, well, send me the information. I'll check him out. Long story short, he was an actual real Nigerian young boy. I say young boy because he's in his early 20s. To me, if you're in your early 20s, you're a kid, okay? Because I'm like double that age, more than double. So this woman was in her late 50s, and she was talking to a 21-year-old Nigerian boy. And she said, well, he told me his real name, but he uses a fake name on the internet, and we're in love, and I'm going to bring him to my country, and I'm going to marry him, and he's legit, and blah, blah, blah. Well, if he's legit, why are you here? Why are you coming to the inbox and asking me questions about this person? So what scammers are doing, and it's not illegal, I mean, but they're trying to scam people as themselves. It's not uncommon for a young Nigerian boy or a young West African girl or guy to talk to Americans, talk to Australians, talk to those in the UK, and talk to women and men who are double, if not triple their age, and try to romance them. So there's different kinds of romance scams, and don't always think that it's a fake profile that's romancing you. It could be a very legit young guy who's from a poorer country who is going to try and romance you as themselves and say, you're my only love, I can do this for you, I'm amazing, and they will come over to your country. They will try to get you to financially support them, pay their phone bills, do all this stuff. So what it comes down to is if you're dating somebody online or you want to fall in love online, there's nothing wrong with that. But if the person is asking you to pay their phone bill, they're asking you for iTunes cards, they're asking you to sponsor them to come over to your country, and you've never as so much as met the person in the flesh, it's a huge red flag. So be aware scammers are doing that as well. They're not only using fake profiles, but they're scamming us themselves to get stuff from people that would be otherwise be lonely or feel vulnerable. So be careful no matter what you do online. Next question we have is, why do a lot of these fake profiles claim they are professionals, like doctors, yet expect us to believe they need to borrow $100, for example? It's a great question. So let's put it this way. If you're talking to somebody and they say to you, I'm a doctor, I have a successful business, but I need to borrow $100 from you, but here's a photo of my beautiful home, my beautiful Ferrari, all these wonderful things I have, but I'm having problems with my bank account. Can I borrow $100 from you? I'll pay you $200 next week. Most people that are trusting are going to say, well, yeah, I'll loan you $100. You're a doctor, for God's sakes. I mean, you got the money. I'm not worried about it. If a scammer came to you with a fake profile that said, hey, I work at 7-Eleven, I make $10 an hour, I'm short $100, can I borrow $100 from you? I'll pay you back as soon as I can. You're going to be a little bit more inclined to go, well, when can you pay me back? Well, I'm not sure. I might have to, wait 5 weeks. So these scammers pretend to be professionals. They pretend to be doctors, engineers, lawyers, gold buyers, exotic oil rig traveling men who own big companies, because it's a way to gain your trust. It's a way for them to say, it's in your head, you're going to be like, hey, he makes $500,000 a year. I'll buy him a $20 iTunes card. He'll pay me back. It's not a problem. I don't have to worry about it. He's successful. And that's why they do it. They do it to gain your trust. It's very rare that you're ever going to meet a scammer who tells you they, clean toilets at the Holiday Inn. They're never going to be that way. They're always going to be big, successful, money-making men so they can gain your trust. And it's also a way to romance you. They gain your trust by making you think, hey, I'm in love with this guy. He's an oil rig engineer. He owns the Shell oil and gas station. He travels all over the world. He's got a nice house. Oh, man, I found the perfect man. And that's why they do it. They want to be the perfect man. They want to have lots of money. They'll even let you log into their fake bank account, and they'll show you all the millions of dollars they don't have. But that's why they do it, to gain your trust. And I had one come to me for help, to have him come over here so he could go to college. Immigration fees and the protocol they have to follow is expensive, and the backlog is unbelievable. Absolutely. So we've had a lot of victims come to us and say, well, I'm going to sponsor this young Nigerian man who's 19 years old, and he wants to come to college, and I'm, 50, and my kids are out of the house, and I want to sponsor him. I want to bring him over so I can give him a good life. Great. You have great intentions. But he doesn't. And what people don't realize is when you sponsor, and a lot of times these people will tell me, hey, yeah, I want to help this kid. He was a scammer, and he confessed to me, and he's never scammed before. He'll never do it again, and he needs me to help him come to college in America. If If you're talking to someone who was a scammer and they say they'll never do it again, or it's their first time scamming, or they feel bad, it's a scammer. They're still scamming. They're doing it right as they talk to you. They're going to keep scamming. And what you don't realize is if you sponsor someone to come to America, it's very expensive. We're not talking $100. We're talking $10,000 to bring them over, plus all the fees, the applications, the flights, medical you have to pay for, proof of income, proof of support. You're looking at, a brand new car cost, okay? And so you're going to bring somebody over who used to scam or claims they used to scam and want to come to America. Think very long and hard about what you're doing, because scammers do this all the time to people, and I've heard victims say to me, oh no, he's never done this, I've never heard of such a thing, scammers don't do this. They do it. And you're responsible for that person while they're in your country. So if they scam and you're responsible for them and they're scamming under your roof, you're going to be the one in trouble just as much as he would be. So think long and hard before you invite strangers into your home, especially ones that were talking to you as a fake profile 5 months prior and profess to love you. So just be smart about it. Next question we have. What should I do if I block the scammer yet he somehow keeps harassing me? I can't change my email, phone number, etc. as I've had it for years. All of my family and business contacts have it, and it would be a real hardship to change it at all. Can't they just go away? It would be nice if they went away. A lot of times what happens is you block a scammer on WhatsApp or Viber or Hangouts, they'll come back as somebody else or a new number. They have hundreds of numbers. And so they'll keep harassing you, and it can be really frustrating. I understand not wanting to change your phone number. I've had the same phone number and email address for years. I've actually had the same email address for 27 years. And so no, I wouldn't want to change my email address. The best thing you can do, as frustrating as it is, mark the emails as spam. Don't even open them, because they can see when you've opened them on some apps. Don't open them. Mark them as spam. Mark them as junk. As far as the phone calls, it can be tough because they're relentless. You can do an app like Mr. Call Blocker so that the only people that can call you are people that are in your address book on your phone. It's a free app. And so any other phone calls will get sent off and they won't come through. And that's the best thing you can do. You might have to have an app like that on your phone for a few months. Keep in mind that scammers, if they don't get a reaction out of you, if they don't get you answering the phone and saying F you, if they don't get an email back from you or a message back from you saying leave me alone or go to hell, they're going to go away. But if you respond to them, and even if you respond to them with a crude, F you, they're going to love that, and they're going to come back and want to interact with you because they feel like they're at least irritating you enough that you're going to respond. So the best thing to do, silence is golden. Block them, ignore them. Eventually they do go away, but it can be a really frustrating few months, before they actually get out of there. Whatever you do, don't go to WhatsApp and Hangouts. Yeah. I mean, I've used Viber before when I travel because it's easy for me to call abroad. But if you're talking to somebody you've never met in person, you just met them on a dating site, you just met them on Facebook, and they say, come to WhatsApp. Do you have WhatsApp? What's your Hangout? Give me your Hangout. Don't even finish the conversation. Just block them. Because a real legit person isn't going to want you to go to Hangouts or WhatsApp right away. They'll talk to you on the site. I play with scammers all the time, and I tell them, no, talk to me on Tagged. If you can't talk to me on Tagged, I don't want to talk to you. Talk to me on Facebook. If you don't want to talk to me on Facebook, get out of here. Scammers get frustrated. They will push you to download Hangouts. They will push you to download WhatsApp. Just tell them no and block them. And that's all you got to do. And really, that's a good sign that the person is a scammer. If they won't talk to you on the site they met you on, there's something very, very wrong with them. And the reason they want to push you that quickly is because they might get kicked off of Facebook for having a fake profile. They might get kicked off of, Tagged or Plenty of Fish or whatever for having a fake profile. So they want to get you on Hangouts and WhatsApp so they can put you and all the other victims they've met with all their other profiles in one little place where they can talk to you. So say no. Just block them, say no, and if the person doesn't want to talk to you, then they weren't worth your time. Next question we have. I got 2 more questions. So, I met a man online, and he was very demanding, asking for many photos of myself and demanded cam chat right away before we even got to even talk or get to know each other. When I told him I'd like to know more about him first, like his location, basic status, he accused me of being a scammer. What do you make of this? So, often we tell people, You know, when you're talking to somebody online, tell me you want a video chat, and that's great. But if you're talking to somebody online and they ask for like 10 or 15 photos of you, and then they ask you to show yourself on camera right away, a lot of times that's a more of a professional scammer that wants to make sure that you're legit, you're not a scam baiter, and that you are the person in the photo, and they want to see you on video before they'll continue the relationship. That type of scammer is very methodical. That type of scammer knows what he wants, and he demands it. So if you're talking to somebody online, you just literally just met them, like, hi, my name is Stacy, it's nice to meet you, and the person replies with, put your cam on now, I want to see your face, block them. It's going to be a scammer, and it's going to be a very professional, very hard-nosed scammer who's going to want A, B, C, and D right away. He's not wasting time. He's going through victims. He's checking all his victims before he makes his kill. So, yeah, if someone's being really nasty with you and you just met him, send him away. Who wants to be with somebody that's demanding like that anyways? So, everyone's joining the chat. I'm just checking your messages. If you have one that's texting you on your phone, he won't leave you alone, you can block the number. Just block the number. I do that. I've blocked people's numbers that have texted me. Just block them. You can go into your settings on your phone if you have an Android. Apple's the same way. Just go into settings and go into block numbers and enter the number in the block numbers, and you shouldn't get text from them anymore. If it'll show the text is being sent to you on their side, but on your side you'll never get the text. And if it gets really bad, there's lots of great free apps on the Play Store or on the iTunes, the Apple Store, that will block scammer numbers, that will block free voicemail numbers. There's an app, I think it's called Mr. Robot or Mr. I'll find the app and show it to you guys on a page. But it's free, and it blocks all VoIP free voicemail numbers from even reaching your phone, and that's great because scammers use those. So if it gets real bad, that's the best way to do it. I've had scammers stalk me. I've had the same phone number for like 13 years, and I had a scammer get a hold of my number a couple of years back, and he was relentless with calling me. And I downloaded that app, and all the calls stopped because he wasn't able to get through. Besides Bitcoin, scammers are now using a money transfer app on a company called RIA. Yeah, they are. It's like MoneyGuard, Western Union. There's another one too. Can't remember the name of it, but it's similar. They want to do different money transfer services. Western Union, since they lost their lawsuit, has been very strict about who can get money, who can send money. Even like myself, legitimately sending money to somebody I know that, like, it's hard. It's a very thorough process now to wire money to people. No More Robo is good too. Yeah, I've used that as well. That's a great app. And remember, all of these blocking apps are free pretty much. So you can just download them. They don't take up a lot of space on your phone, and they're free. And they work. Most of them work pretty well. So we have one more question that someone wrote in, and then if you have questions in the chat, I'll answer them, and then we'll wrap up the Q&A for November. What can I do to protect myself this holiday season from scammers? So the best thing you can do, and I'm going to tell you this, and I don't mean to sound rude, but Christmas is a hard time for a lot of people, especially with the pandemic this year. We're not seeing our families. Like if you have a big family, you usually go and spend time with your family. You usually go and have a big dinner, and you have people to see, and you cook for your coworkers, and you have holiday parties with your family and with your coworkers and with your social circles. And this year we're not doing that. At least you shouldn't be. It can be tough, and Christmas can be tough for people on a good year. The best thing I could tell you to protect yourself is, don't add people you don't know. You can chat to a person without adding them as a friend. You don't have to go to Hangouts or WhatsApp. If the person won't talk to you where you met them, they're not worth your time. But more importantly, don't let the loneliness of the holidays cause you to give in to a scammer. Because what happens is a lot of these scammers will work hard emotionally manipulating you, and they know, if your kids are grown and they're away at college and they can't come this year, you're divorced, or your husband maybe doesn't even pay attention to you, and you live a very lonely life, you can tend to look for people to talk to online. If you're in a bad marriage and you're lonely, it happens. And the best thing you can do is be tough. Don't let the holiday season, don't let loneliness, don't let your good heart override your brain, because scammers will use their fake children. They'll say, "Hey, it's Christmas, and little Sally, my daughter Sally, doesn't have an iPhone because her mother's dead, and I'm on an oil rig, and she's all alone on Christmas, and all she wants is an iPhone." People feel bad, and then they want to send iPhones. So don't do it. Be tough. Keep your ground. Stay solid in what you believe, and above all, no matter what the person's told you, no matter if you find a hit on their photo or not, whether their photo's stolen or you can't find it, whether their profile looks legit or it doesn't, don't send money to people you don't know. Don't give gift cards to people you don't know. Don't buy a Steam card or an Amazon card or an iTunes card or a Google Play card or a wallet card to people you don't know. If you've not met that person in person, where you can see them, hug them, touch them, and you've never met them, don't send them things, and don't give out your passwords. Don't give out your bank information. Don't do any of that, and you'll be fine. And that's the best way to get through the holiday. It's great to talk to people online. I've met a lot of great friends from the internet over the years, but I've not given them money or gift cards or given them my bank information. You just don't do that, and especially when you're in an online relationship. So, don't do those things, and keep your head straight. Your heart wants to help people, but your head needs to be the leader in this, because scammers from now until right up till Christmas are going to be pushing you to send money. They're going to be pushing you to buy these Steam cards and gift cards and wallet cards, and they're going to be pushing you for your bank information. So don't give it. Just stay safe. And yeah, it can be lonely at Christmas. I get it. This is probably going to be one of my worst Christmases I've had, and I still am not going to give a $100 iTunes card to a stranger I've never met. So you shouldn't do it either. And that's basically what I can tell you. But just be safe this holiday. If you guys have questions, you can ask them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up this Q&A. I want to keep it a little short this time. But we will be going on YouTube and doing some more videos. I do have, Anne has a couple things I need to get with you on. And then victim stories. I've got victim stories coming out soon on YouTube. And we will be chatting as Betty and Bardeen in the future on our YouTube channel as well. So I want to thank everyone for coming out for our Q&A. I know this is a little bit shorter than usual, but I just wanted to cover some things. You can send me a Steam wallet card for Christmas. I don't want one. But thank you guys for coming to our Q&A tonight. We will be doing one in a couple weeks right before Christmas. We usually do a holiday Q&A, and I usually dress up as some kind of holiday character. I haven't figured it out yet this year. Last year I dressed up as Betty, the human Christmas tree. So we'll see what we do, but join us in a few weeks, maybe about 3 weeks, for our Christmas Q&A special. And we're going to try to do a once-a-week YouTube informal Q&A where we just call scammers and have some fun as Betty. So if you guys have any questions, you need any help, you can find us on the inbox. You can ask questions there. Anna and myself are always there to help you. And then you can find us on YouTube under Scamming Scammers. And we'll be making videos there as well. So thanks everyone for joining me tonight, and says hello. And I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy. It's really bad here with the pandemic, and it's getting worse. So I hope you guys are doing well. And as I said, I'll have some victim story videos coming out soon, and I will have some more Betty videos coming out as well. And if you haven't checked it out, part 5 of our chat with George is now on YouTube. It's an hour long, and it's the conclusion of George, Bardeen, and Betty. So thanks again for joining us. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Be well. If you need help, you can find us in the inbox. And we will see you guys in about 3 weeks for our last Q&A of 2020. Hopefully next year will be better for all of us. So thanks again. We'll catch you guys later. Be safe. Much love to everybody. Thanks again for your thoughts and prayers. Appreciate it very much. And I'll keep you guys updated as time goes on. Be safe and keep your money. Don't give it to scammers. We'll see you later. Bye.